All right, and welcome back to Logan Simmons Photography. Definitely appreciate you watching, and if you haven't done so already, make sure you're subscribed to us on YouTube or follow us on Facebook. It's a big help, and you're going to get alerts to all this great content you're seeing. For example, this video today on this product we're going to review. Make sure too you like the video, because I'm sure you're going to like it, and again, it really helps us out a lot. So today I want to review a product from Topaz Labs called Gigapixel AI. You might remember a few weeks ago I reviewed another one of their products, which is called Sharpen AI, which basically, if you have a soft image for one reason or another, will make it much sharper than a lot of other tools and programs will do up to this point. And today, Gigapixel, what this does basically is take a small image, maybe you shot it at a low resolution or you have an old film scan, and to make it much, much bigger. And I think it's actually pretty good quality. So I'm going to go ahead and bring it into my computer here. We'll take a look. And what you see right here is the Gigapixel AI app. Of course, we have to put an image in here for it to do something, but it's a basic interface here. Whoops. And for example, I'll just show you here. Of course, you'll see it when we load an image in. We can increase the image. We can reduce, I guess. We can also go 2x, 4x, 6x, or you can also specify how many times bigger you'd like it to be. And of course, you have your face refinement over here, which basically makes the enlargement look better if you're enlarging a face. And these regular and automatic modes are manual and automatic to address noise and some blur. We'll play around with that a bit. But I do want to point one thing out straight away. There is no Photoshop or Lightroom plugin available with Gigapixel. You may see Photoshop behind there. We can't, just go into filter and run Gigapixel. It doesn't work that way, so that is definitely a downside. But I think you'll see this thing is pretty interesting. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and hit open, and I've already got a little folder here with some images we're going to look at. So, you basically, for example, if you have a RAW file from a digital SLR, digital camera, you need to basically save it out. Probably ideally use a TIFF. I wouldn't use a JPEG because it's, compresses the image. But probably a TIFF. Basically, you're going to make your enlargement. That'll be the final thing you do after you make all your other edits. So I'm going to go ahead and open up this one right here. And it's kind of an unusual image. You'll see it right here. I actually did this for a photo challenge. Anyway, long story, but those are some teddy bears on a bed, and it's a very cute image, but we're not going to focus so much on that today. So basically what you can see here, it's automatically defaulted to the 2x scale effect right there. And of course, I guess we could do width and height if we wanted to do that as well. I'm not going to bother with face refinement. We're not going to enlarge those today, but if you are enlarging a face, it makes it a little more natural, I guess, if you do have the face refinement turned on. And right now I'm going to keep it on manual. We'll go ahead and see here really quick. I'm just going to go ahead and, if you move this little cursor up here, we can move to different parts of the image. Now, this is a very quick preview that's being generated. This is the original image here. This is a very quick preview here on the right-hand side. And, it's definitely a big difference, I think. In fact, I may go ahead and I might say, I'm seeing a little bit of noise there, so I can slide up my suppress noise, and it will go ahead and make this, we'll make that a little bit less grainy there. Blur, I'm not going to worry about. This image is perfectly sharp. Now, I want to go up here. So this is a 12 megapixel image here on the left from a 12 megapixel DSLR camera. I can go over here and say, well, I want to make it double, quadrupled, 6x. No, I don't think that means we're going necessarily from 12 to 24 to 48 and so forth, but it's kind of similar if you got that concept. I can go all the way to 6x, and you can see right here as I do that, you'll see a little bit of artifacting because, again, this preview is just a preview. It's not the full version. But you can see right here, I've got all these kind of cool hairs, which weren't even barely visible at all, but I believe those hairs are actually on the bear. Now, I could go ahead and hit save, for example, and I can specify what image format I want. It will save out a TIFF, JPEG, PNG file. Typically, I would recommend you use a TIFF because you can save it out as a 16-bit file, get all that dynamic range, don't have to worry about compression. But these photos are quite massive. A TIFF of a 6x from a 12 megapixel image is probably going to be at least several gigabytes in size. And with this particular computer, it is going to take some time to render. And that's something I want to bring up here about Gigapixel. The system requirements are pretty hefty. Now, I've taken a screenshot of the page, which you'll see, because I don't remember all of it in front of me. But the biggest thing you probably want to have if you want to do a lot of these high resolution image enlargements is a dedicated GPU, whether that's from NVIDIA or ATI. The computer we're working right now is a 13-inch MacBook Pro. It does not have a dedicated GPU. So it can run the program. It does take a little bit longer though. But this is by no means a low-end computer. Now I could plug in, for example, one of these ports over here, a separate external graphics card. So there are some options, but bear in mind, you're going to have a pretty good computer, pretty fancy, if you want to take full advantage of the speed this program can offer. I am not going to go ahead, going back to this image, I am not going to save this particular image right now because it will take about half an hour for this program to generate it with that 6x enlargement. It's going to be very, very big. So through the magic of television, I have already done this. Okay, so we're going to go into Adobe Bridge and I'm going to open up this file into Adobe Photoshop. And if all goes well, we will open right up. There we go. And this is just a 12 megapixel image right here. So this is about what you'd expect, but it is very sharp. You know, I made sure it was in focus and steady and all that when I took this particular shot. I know it's a little bit funny. Again, long story about the picture, but I decided to go ahead and use it for today's purposes. And I've already got it set up for inches. I'm going to go ahead and specify here about a 40 by 60 inch enlargement. Now that's quite a bit for a 12 megapixel file, but I think you'll see why I'm going this large. And we are going to do the resample, the interpolation that Photoshop offers, just the default preserved details, which is their enlargement. It's actually not too shabby. So we'll go ahead and hit OK. And it will take just a minute for Photoshop to do that, not the half an hour that Topaz does. It's going to take just a second for that to render out here. There we go. So I've got the 100% view. That is a 40 by 60 inch print at 300 dpi. So that is a massive, massive picture. Now I'm going to go ahead and go back to my bridge, and I'm going to go ahead and open up this other file. I actually saved it out as a JPEG because the file was just so massive if I was going to do a TIFF and would kind of slow us down, so I didn't want to do that. But I'm going to go ahead, and this is, if I go up into image size, this is 56 by 83 inches at 300 dpi. If I go into 100%, you know, there's definitely, I mean, it's, you know, there's a little bit of noise, but again, you'd expect that. This is a pretty massive, massive file. So I think it actually worked out pretty well. So actually what I'm going to do to match the image size of the previous files, I'm going to have to actually reduce. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go over to my resample here, and I'm going to say Cubic Sharpener, which Photoshop now indicates what it's for. This is for reducing your size of the image, which we need to do. So I'm going to go down to a 40 by 60 or thereabouts. And we'll hit OK. And I'm going to zoom over to about where we were with the other image, which I think we got the little nose of the bear there and the little bear there. So this is the Topaz AI enlargement at a 40 by 60 inch print. And here is Photoshop going ahead and doing its own interpolation. And I'm not sure if you can see it on the video. It's a little bit more than subtle. How about a step above subtle? So it's not doing magic, but it definitely is making an improvement from where we were. So there we go. Here is Topaz AI. And here is Photoshop just increasing the file size. So I think it's definitely worthwhile. But again, it's not going to blow your socks off compared to some things. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm not going to save these. I'm going to go ahead and show you something that definitely is going to make a huge difference. And that is with old film scans. Now, back in the day, you know, I didn't have a fancy scanner per se, and I didn't necessarily have the time and the storage space to save out big files from my scans. So I did some slides and I scanned them at 1200 dpi. I will go ahead and select this color one of Dead Horse Point State Park in Utah. And with this Retina display, that is the resolution of this file, literally. It will not even display over this display's entirety. So we're not working with much here. So I'm going to go ahead and open up that Topaz Gigapixel product again. And then I'm going to go ahead and open that particular image, which is that JPEG file right here. And it's saying it wants to install updates. We're not going to do that right now. And we'll wait for it to generate its preview right here. And we're going to go to 6x again. We are going to get serious here. So this is going to be a pretty big print. Now you may see a little bit of artifacting in here as I do this. But bear in mind the preview here is not necessarily going to be the final version. So let's take a look at this piece of rock right here. As you can see, this is what, you know, if we just increase the, you know, just without any interpolation, that film scan, that's what it looks like. This is with Topaz AI. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say, oh, that's fine. Just we'll keep the default 50% of the suppressed noise and remove blur. And I'm going to go ahead and hit save. And for sake of time, I am going to go ahead and just render out a JPEG because that makes things easy. And I'm going to say version 2. I want to say we've already saved one, but we'll go ahead and do that. And this, remember I said you need this fancy computer for this? These small files do go fairly quickly. So I'm going to do it here live so you can see it. I'm going to go ahead and hit save. And let's see how long this takes here. I don't think it should take that long. You will see down here the process. So in the last 10 seconds, we've got about 10%. So that should give you kind of an idea how long this is going to take. So I may go ahead and accelerate in the video. We'll be back in a second. All right, and that took just a few minutes. And now you can see down in my bridge here, I do have the Gigapixel file. So I'm actually going to go ahead and open that in Adobe Photoshop. And I think we've lost some of our edits, but let's go ahead and take a look at the resolution. This is, let's go over to image size right here, and let's go over to pixels. This is 6,000 roughly by 9,000 pixels at 300 dpi. So we increased by a lot. And if I zoom in here, you can see here the resolution is actually really impressive. Now, is it as good as a 100 megapixel digital back on a medium format camera that costs $50,000? No, but it is impressive. So I'm going to go ahead, let's go ahead and say, let's do a 20 by 30 inch print, which actually I think that's about what it is now. Okay, there we go. So it's already got a 20 by 30. And let me go ahead and open up the original scan right here. And we'll bring that into Photoshop. As I say, I think we had some edits that got lost, but it's enough to take a look at the resolution here. And I'm going to go ahead and bring up, as you can see right now, it's a 2.89 inches by 4.47 at 300 dpi. So we're going to go all the way to 20 by 30. And let me get my interpolation correct. We'll do an enlargement one. And if you look at it right here, it's going to take a minute or so, but there we go. Okay, so this is the best Photoshop could do. That's a 20 by 30 inch print from that original scan. Here's Gigapixel. And if you want to talk about magic, I don't know how they're doing it, but this artificial intelligence must really be something. So that is a huge difference there, and I think really shows the power of Gigapixel, especially in this case. So I guess my verdict is this: if you've got old film scans, especially low resolution, they are pretty amazing, okay? This thing works really well. I also did it with black and white film. Virtually the same results, very impressive. If you have a modern digital camera, the results are less impressive, although I'm not going to say this program is not worthwhile. So they do offer a 30-day free trial. I'm not paid by them or anything like that, at least at this point. If any of that changes, they'll be noted down below. But right now, we're not getting paid for this. I definitely think it's worth at least trying that 30-day trial, run some of your files through it. But again, hopefully this was helpful to you. So definitely appreciate you watching, and make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. It helps things out a lot. So until next time, you have a good one. Bye-bye.